What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are feeling a little bit better than the market. Looks like Nike as well getting a little hit. Neo got a little bit hit today. So some of the companies with the earnings, I know MU went up, but I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them since if they faded down. But otherwise, we got SPY just kind of looking a little bit to the weak side. A little bit. We got support on SPY at 559.11. We kind of had a little bit of a box we were trying to draw in that we just hung out there for the last 3 days. That kind of looks like it's breaking down a little bit with this open. Only one little support here, and then unfortunately we got one back here. But more importantly, we got quad witching day. So don't rely on how this chart looks at the open. These things could get moved around. I would expect a little bit of extra volatility right at the open. Maybe some of that's starting to bleed into the market now. Otherwise, to the very end of the day, and I've seen it like the last 5 minutes a day. So it could be like an all day looking normal, and then right to the very end, something could shoot up $10, like just wild. So just be careful of that. Quad witching, basically, we have all of the options, or not all of them, but a large amount of options expire today. Options do unfortunately move the markets a little bit. So you have the dailies expiring today, you have the weeklies, the monthlies, all kind of, and the quarterlies all kind of closing today. So big day for options. The good news is it will set us up for next week. So if next week on Monday all of those options on multiple time frames start expiring, then we do have the runway pretty free and clear. If you're going to get a bounce and people are going, okay, 10% correction in the market, it's time. That might be it. Or do they start piling in this direction and kind of give us that next leg down? So a lot to look forward to. How this week closes, I think, is going to be relatively telling, but how we open on Monday is even more telling. Uh, Probably for the next little bit of a move, maybe 3 months of move until the market wants to recorrect itself again. But we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Andrew, Andy, Bill, Cheryl, Cindy, D, Frank, Greg, Jeff, Joe, Keith, Kevin, Stone. Good morning. We got Lauren, Lucian, Malik. Good morning to Mike, Peter, Rob Johnson in the house. Good morning to Shane. We got Tim, Wendy, William. The squad is here. The piling in. We got Clarice in YouTube land. Our first one gold medal to you for the first comment of the day in YouTube land. Richard J. Good morning to you. Hostile in the house. Good morning to Ray. What is happening, Ray? We got Mustafa. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the backgrounds of YouTube. Just not gonna say anything. Not like Bones. Bones just almost made it into the lurking category, but Bones came in with a comment, so you are on the other side. Good morning to you as well. For all the other lurkers, it's okay. It's okay if you don't say nothing. I'd rather you do, but just hit that like and subscribe button. But yeah. Andrew says stacked this morning. Yeah, solid. Green week in jeopardy. Maybe, yeah. So let's flip this to a weekly chart. Where are we? So we'll see. We'll see. Right now, it does not look like it's gonna close green. Kind of the opposite of last week where it looked like a deep red and then still closed red, but nice little hammer above the 100. But we are below the 100 or the 50, I mean, on a weekly time frame for right now. The last 5 minutes of the day, I'm telling you, that's gonna be an important one. Where are we at for this month? The month still looks like doo doo, but uh, we have what is it? One more week left. Why is this month moving slow and fast at the same time? Yeah, we only have really trading days of the month. We only got one, two, three more trading days. So we need the early half of next week to be incredibly bullish. Get us a close somewhere above 570.98 if we could get there. There or higher, then we're just right back inside of this candle from November still. Otherwise, this will be our first close lower than November, but including today, 4 trading days left to get the job done. Otherwise, it does look fairly weak still. We shall see. Let's do the daily. Let's take a look at the Qs. We got the Qs is hanging out at support a little bit. A little bit at support. So that level that we want to stay above is 473.71. If that breaks, you have another level right below it, 473.58. So rather good support. Two levels right in the same zone. All of those have been messed with before. The next real big huge level, 471.41. If that breaks, there's a psychological two psychological levels just where we closed, and then we got our absolute low of the day, low of the month, 466.54 to start breaking under. But before we even get to that point, 471.41 would be the huge level that I would be looking at for the Qs. If we bounce higher, if we bounce off the support, that's not going to give me too much comfort. We have resistance at 474.99, so we'll say 475. Anything above 475 gives us a little bit more room to play. That's 477.14. So right at support, resistance not too far away. Getting above 475 would be huge. And then you could see a run up into like 477.14. And if things are really bouncing, it is no, it's a gap and go from the last 2 days. Both those kind of inside, maybe a little retested open. So I don't know. It kind of looks a little choppy more than anything else. But we'll say we'll see what happens. Yep, if you guys got tickers, let me know. The first one I see is FDX. I think they did report earnings, if I'm not mistaken. They did report it based on this gap, there was no earnings. So they just put out a report. They missed on earnings per share by 1%, so that's not great in this type of market. And then surprise, beat to the higher side, 331 million, so that's not bad. The earnings per share miss is a little devastating, and my guess would be I didn't see the conference call, but if I was to just wing it off this chart, it looks like a guidance was a little bit to the lower side. Yeah, the outlook not so great. Also the opening of FedEx not so great as well. This is a big massive move down. Uh, it is a gap and go from Friday. I mean from Friday. Today's Friday. DJ, wake up. From yesterday, and actually the last for this full week. So from technically from last Friday, we've had nothing but green days. Not huge moves, but green days. Other than that, though, there's a lot of selling into this one. This is quite a big move for FedEx. I don't think we I don't think we die right away. I would look for a little bounce. This is really not a good open though. What I'm thinking is I got my high volume somewhere around 224.83. I would like to see a bounce into that. So go up like $2 first, get held up there, and then put your short on. At the very same time, we are below all of that volume. That's not good. Next immediate support is 221.90. I think your biggest support on this one in terms of volume is 221.43. If that breaks, you have a lot of room down to like 219.33. So and then if that one breaks, technically untested hammers candle 217.18. I like it to the short side. Not a huge amount of reward, I don't think, compared to risk. But if you do get that bounce into 224, what is it, 83, that's not horrible for a short. And then if you clear that zone, you're just being patient, waiting for like 228.23 to continue that short. Another chance for UPS. Yeah, how's the sympathy on this one? They were they were beat up into this one. Their earnings I think we still have some time on this one. Yeah, April 29th, so we got to the end of the month, end of next month, a little over 30 days out. Their last earnings I think was they had the inverse, so they beat on earnings per share, they missed on the revenue. Again, they are beat up. I still would not mind owning them, but I want to own them just under 108. So I hope this thing comes down. But now you're gonna have a low bar on UPS. Again, they were also down on guidance too. So moving packages around seems like a tough biz. Tough biz in so many ways. UPS, you do have Some support again where we're opening. Actually, we're right below it. So yeah, maybe the play is the sympathy UPS. I think you have a lot more room to go down and less eyeballs on it. Even this, the next target's probably 113.49, and then you got 113. We'll get this one higher. But that still looks relatively short for me. Maybe the better spot is if we just be patient. See if we get some buying at 114.45. I don't know if I want to go short at 114.74 at that point. I think I'd wait for this 115.55. But both of them leaning to the bearish end of things. We will see. We got, let me scroll up a little bit. PayPal. PayPal bearish gap and go is our news. Is PayPal underperforming the financial sector? That was 3 days ago. So no direct news for PayPal from what I could see at least. Otherwise, we have a gap and go to the bear side. There's a lot of support down here on PayPal. Still looks pretty weak. I guess your target, extended target for today is about 67.35. However, if that breaks down in a longer term sense, which won't be today, I don't think. Quad witching day, you could get some dramatic moves, but that would take you to like 63.23. Looks rough on PayPal. Lots of support on it. I don't think I would short this one personally, unless we got a little bit lower, specifically like an attempt under 67.99. Then I got that 67.35 in the way, but if that breaks, I'd be getting in at a good price. Otherwise, I'm a little concerned that gap and go will get held up at support on this one. SPY has just been leaking the whole time I've been talking. I gotta maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one causing the market to drop. Google, good for good for your puts. Yeah, your puts looking good. We got Google is a gap and go, but relatively still inside this candle from Tuesday. We still have the retest spot, some kind of support at 162.32. I'm definitely going to watch this one. If we start breaking that support, that's where I'll look to enter for some more continued selling into the Google world. Um, I don't think I want to do it right at open. The other thing is if we open here and we're just hanging out, I do like it to the short side, but the short would come in somewhere close to 164.70. So I'm not gonna go short here. Either just break down, get past that 162.21, and then I'll look to find some kind of setup to go short or wait for that bounce, which I prefer to do. See if we get a bounce at 164.70, and then that would be a really good risk reward if we could get that one. Because then we'd probably be at 1.2 at least, maybe 2 hours into the 162.21 with the opportunity for a further breakdown. Could we get a bounce, please? Could we get a bounce in this market? Don't be an open and drop type day. Nvidia. Nvidia, it's been range bound for the most part this week. In fact, what does this weekly candle look like? So yeah. 2 weeks ago we had a little bit of a retest gap. That one did overextend itself further than I would have thought, at least on this one candle. And we've just been hanging out on a weekly basis right now. We are opening underneath that 50, so that kind of looks a little bit to the weak side for today. Uh, Again, very tight range, but watch this 115.63. So if we could break 115.63, you get a lot more room to the downside back to 111.62. I think probably pretty quickly in that zone. And then potentially 109.32, potentially 107.26, and then continued further breakdown. But right now, I don't know if it's the best short. You can't really go long. It is a gap and go in the bearish direction. So I think that would be your sentiment for today. You want to try to come in a little bit higher for that short. Probably 117.48, and then unfortunately your stops. It's not a bad trade actually. Stops would be anywhere above probably 118.70, and then you could probably make that work on a quick bounce, and then you're just hoping you can break some of that support. But the real tell on this one is if you start breaking down essentially 115, 115.59-ish, somewhere in that zone. Uh, Coinbase, COIN. Coinbase also gapping down with the rest of the market. We'll check out Bitcoin after this one. But Bitcoin was looking decent a little bit yesterday. Was trying. We'll check that out in a second. Otherwise, we have yeah, really not strong open. You do have a lot more room on this one. Out of all of them so far, I think you have the best risk reward maybe on Coinbase to the short side. Still inside some chop. Still technically inside day from yesterday. I do like that location. If we open where we're at, 187 or lower, would be your spot to probably try to ride this thing out to at least 183.33, and then next target 181.44. Let's check out Bitcoin. Let's see what the biddy's doing. The biddy, DOS biddy. Um, Still hanging out, really. This is the really good breakout candle. Got you above that 200 inside day resting candle. Doesn't look hugely strong in the fact that you're now yesterday's close, yeah, was rough. 84.44.65 was kind of what we're looking for support. Now you have a opening underneath it. Little support on Bitcoin at like 83,270. Next target down to like 82,000. Still looking a little choppy, but more to the weak side. I think you're let's do this real quick. You might be right at that 618 for a bounce on Bitcoin from that last move. You're sitting right at that 618 retracement. So yeah, look for anything underneath 83,569, and that would probably push anything crypto-wise to continue to the downside. CONL. Granite shares, not a huge edge on this one. It is a gap and go to the bear side, still inside day. Depends on where this one opens. Right now, we're slightly above that support, so if this thing could break down $16.69, I think you get room down to 16.46. If that breaks, you got room to 16.12. So not a huge range on it. Stretch goal would be 15.77. That would give you almost a dollar on a $16, $17 stock, which wouldn't be bad, but I think you need a lot to happen on that one. So for right now, I think that'd be a no play for me. Just chilling, hanging out. All this consolidation is at the low end of that candle too. It's not showing signs that there's strength coming in quite yet. You got Nike. Nike had earnings, which were I thought decent. So they did beat uh, earnings per share by 79%. They beat by 250 million. I thought Nike was going up higher after the earnings. They did. I don't know what the CEO said, but this looks like a self-inflicted wound. Was it guidance on them too? Nike shares dropped 5 to 7% in pre-market Q3 for the percentages. Yeah. Revenue is expected to fall further, so decreasing revenue. Not great. ON, kicking some butt. Kicking some Nike butt. Um, yeah, earnings didn't seem that bad, but it looks like guidance expected lower revenue, not great. Big support on this one around 63.73. Starting to get to some interesting pricing. I mean, even that level is that COVID? Let's see. This is yeah, you are in COVID levels. Is Nike gonna start breaking below COVID? That would be interesting. And it's also interesting that my computer doesn't let me scroll normally. I'm not sure why. But yeah, that looks weak. It's down a lot. I don't know if I could go short there. You do have a little support, but that looks pretty horrific. Maybe if it drops a little bit more, you could probably try to look for a fade on this one. For a long-term investment, I don't think in 10 years, so that would be a criteria that I would need for a long-term investment. Um, do I think a company is even going to be around in 10 years? I think the answer to that for Nike is yes. I think they end up figuring things out. Everyone's concerned about ON, but Nike does more than just shoes. A little bit lower though. Yeah, I'll play it out. We start getting below COVID, then I'm adding some Nike to that portfolio. Kind of like it. Kind of like it for a longer term hold. For today, you pretty close to that support. I think I would look for a fade actually. We will see Apple AAPL, but Nike I kind of want Nike to drop another $2 first before we start going aggressive. We got Apple. Apple is not looking tremendous. This actually might be a pretty fantastic short. Next, the real target for today, 208.54. We've already been there. 204.93. Can we see another $5 to the downside, $6 to the downside on this one? I think it's possible. We're below that 200, and that looks rough. High wave candle to the short side would be fantastic. Give me a little bit of, I think the closer you can get into, man, we're going to open, we are opening above that support. All right, let's see if we get a quick bounce in this market first to set us up for some shorts, and then I think that looks very weak. The better retest spot, the closer you could get your short, if you're going to try it, the closer you get to 212.17, the better. So I would like to see a little bounce first. Meta, when he says all of her puts are in the money. Money, money, money. What are you doing around here on the 200? Get your 200 holding you up. You got good looking tweezer tops holding you up. You've got weak open. I think you go a little further. You are opening essentially right at that VPOC, slightly underneath it. Depends on where we open, but anything underneath 579.56, I would probably be looking to hold those puts. Not quite tweezers, but you have almost tweezers down there. So that's your next huge level. That would now be below that 200, below those tweezers, and then you probably have a good rampage down to like 567. 557.62 would be your next spot. Uh, Again, interesting spot for an open. Just depends on where this thing actually opens, and then if we open under the 200, I think it's a flush immediately. Take like a pre-market breakdown if you're trying to day trade, but you're already in it with puts. All good. TGT. Benjel says must have paid a heavy premium. I think Wendy got in there a little bit higher. Yeah, little before the market was expected to be bearish. Target looks absolutely like trash. This is just that's not if you're holding this thing again, longer term basis, the closer I get to 100 is where I'd like to maybe buy some shares of Target. So I still got some more room to go. But you get a pretty decent divvy. Otherwise, this market, if you're bullish, you're not happy on Target right now. I'm gonna have to add Target to the list of the short side. That looks incredibly weak. I don't know where Target's gonna go. I think you got room down to, let's see, the low of this candle is 103.74. So you got 103.74. I feel like that's not even correct. What's this one? 102.93 is the low of this high wave candle. Maybe some support there, but I don't think so. I think this one has lower to go. Wouldn't mind this short on target. Continue to pound those shorts. It looks like. I don't know. W200 SMA at 201. The weekly 200 SMA. For which one? Is that Apple? Revenue is a billion lower than last quarter. Yeah, that's not a. They didn't really have a high bar for Nike. I'm guessing you're talking Nike. Apple is at the 200 SMA is oh it's at 201.06. Yeah. Apple looks a little rough skis. I don't know. Apple TV losing 1 billion per year, says Benjal. It's actually Bijal. Pretty crazy. Let's see. I got a couple others. Disney from Clarice. We got Disney is chilling. Again, not great. That would be a retest gap. So maybe just be at least a little extra cautious right at the bell. But if you get a little pop into look for like 98.44 and then look for like 98.64 would be a good one too. Otherwise, targets to the downside, you got 97.11. Spy is still just absolutely getting crushed right now as we speak. Um, yeah, I think Disney looks weak as well. The only thing I'm concerned with is that one little sell-off day from yesterday. So maybe you could get a little bit higher on your short, but it does look weak. It looks kind of weak down here. We're going to throw that one on the list too. We'll see. Ticker 285A. 285A. Right now it's just kind of coming back for retest. Really good gap up. Watch this support somewhere around 29.39. If that starts to break, this could be a development into maybe a little bit of a bigger pullback. Uh, some support probably to like 27.68, potentially get down to like 26.54 and then 24.54 if this is a bigger pullback. For right now, I think it's a little too early to tell. Looks like we're just closing that gap. And then you got that 29.39, somewhere around there. Should be support. So watch that key level. Let's see. We got SPY puts at 569. Those are probably pretty decent. Stuff says options expiring today. Yep. In every time frame. Lots and lots of options. So we'll see what happens. Right now, looking at every single chart, it does not have the feeling that we should be long today. However, we've already sold off since I've been just blabbering and I started this stream. We have done nothing but sell. We're starting to get a little green candle in there. Maybe some of those we could get that retest and then probably look for a fade because that is a lot of selling before the bell. So be patient at open, and I do expect a little bit of high volatility in the early morning, and then especially the last few minutes of the day, things could go absolutely crazy. So be careful on that. Otherwise, in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons if you've not done so already. You guys are awesome. Be safe. Crazy day probably coming up today. Otherwise, we'll catch you.